And feel free to message me if you need any help. Okay?
And for me to you, do not break any more girls' hearts.
Excuse. What's up, guys? And we are on the move this morning on our last morning here in Japan. Our last morning together. Oh no! So a pretty big night last night. By the time I got back to the room, I was dead. I was like passed out. I felt okay during the night, and even walking back, I was like alive as anything. But as soon as I lied down, dead. As always. And I remember waking up at like 2 a.m. in the morning feeling flushed and hot. I'm like, oh, but no, feeling fresh this morning, feeling alive. Just need a bit of water. But we are now checked out and on the way to the bus now to go to the airport. All checked in, guys, ready to go, ready to say goodbye. Heading to the departures gate now, and this is where we say our final goodbyes. Sayonara? Is this sayonara?
No.
No? So Shizuka goes off on her own to Southeast Asia by herself. First time she's going on her own.
My actual beginning.
Like, since we traveled together, it's a lot easier. It's not like on our own solo trips. So today's the day we go on our own solo trips now.
Any travel tips? Shizuka did well.
Final travel tips. No, you actually did pretty good. She did most of our planning and looking up stuff. Mainly because I can't read Japanese, but she did really good. Yeah, so if you just do that, you'll kill it in Southeast Asia. Booking ahead, looking up transport and all that. And just one last travel tip, watch out for them boys.
They asked me what time, I show them this.
That will definitely scare them off. But yes, I hope that you have a safe trip, and
you too. You have a safe trip,
and that you enjoy your trip, and and there's no trouble, and if trouble does come your way, I'm sure you know how to handle it.
Oh, do I?
And feel free to message me if you need any help. Okay?
And for me to you, do not break any more girls' hearts.
Excuse. In all honesty though, thank you for taking me around Japan and showing me around and helping me travel. I really enjoyed it, and I wouldn't have had it any other way.
Oh no.
Oh.
Oh. 조지만.
Oh no! Security gates! On my own in Japan on the very last day, and it's up to me to try to find my way out of this place. But you know, when I was sitting in the plane, you know, I kind of thought about it when I said bye, and I think it didn't really hit me up until the very last moment, you know, when she was on the other side of the glass wall and then we waved goodbye. I think it was that point, like, you know, I legit felt sad. Yeah, you know, saying byes are never easy, and you know, I've had my fair share, but you know, at least for both of us, you know, it was both our decisions We both saw it coming. We had a lot of time spent together up until then. So it's the best that we both could have asked for. And now we are on our own adventures now, our own solo adventures. But if it's any consolation, I don't think it's the last time I'll see her. Obviously, it would be nice to catch up with her and see how her travels went when I get back to Sydney in a few months. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if we cross paths again in the future. So it's 10 o'clock now and I've just arrived back in Okinawa. And of course, the weather is beautiful. Sun is out today and I kind of feel like the last 4 days have been a bit of a waste. It seems like we were following the typhoon and the rain from Okinawa to Ishigaki. So I was looking forward to doing the snorkeling in the blue cave here. But anyway, my flight to Tokyo is at midday. So just gonna check in now and wait for my flight. And Shizuka, just in case you're watching this, which you probably are, I made it to the gate all by myself. Just had to revert to annoying Georgia Maru asking questions to just about everyone. But it's okay, you don't have to worry about me even if I get to Tokyo because I've learned how to navigate around there from the best. Alright guys, and I made it back into Tokyo now. Got here at 3 o'clock and it's 5 o'clock now. You'd be surprised how fast time goes when you've got so many videos to edit. And my flight back to Sydney tonight is at 9 o'clock, so still have 4 hours until then. So just killed 2 hours editing a few videos, catching up on the vlogs. But time to make my way and hopefully I still have a few hours to edit by the time I get to Terminal 3. I am starving. One thing about Japan is I love Japanese food. I love Japanese food back at home, and after being to Japan, I love it even more. Back at home, I could eat Japanese food non-stop. Wasabi, love it even more after this trip. Seaweed, onigiri, sashimi, ramen, udon, you name it, I'll have it all. So just loading up now. It's nearly 6 o'clock, it's nearly time to check in. 9-hour flight overnight back home, so really need to stock up. Alright guys, so just an hour before our flight, and you know what that means. It's time for costs. There's nothing like doing costs and expenditure in my free time. Love it, love it. Now one of the most asked questions is Japan expensive? To me in general as a ballpark, I'd say it's round about the middle. Obviously not the cheapest, but certainly not the most expensive, but you know, certainly affordable to travel. Now in the beginning of the trip, we had a $75 a day budget. We blew that. I think that was a very tight budget. End of the day, the grand total came down to $107 a day. And of course, like with every trip, I used my spreadsheet, kept that up to date every single day. It was a lot easier because I had Shizu's help this time. So I'll quickly go through the spreadsheet so you guys can see what I'm talking about. So here it is, the spreadsheet that I use on every trip. So let's just filter out Japan. And these are all the costs I use for Japan. Now if we go straight to the summary, you can see here I've broken up the categories: accommodation, activity, food, other, souvenir, and transport. This is the sum in Australian dollars, and this is conversion into Japanese yen. Now the total down here, spent 2,800 bucks, flights were 1,400, and that gives me a grand total of $4,200. Now for the three main things, accommodation, food, and transport, you can see here I split it up into a per day. So that's 21 days we traveled, so that gives an average of $31 a day for accommodation, $40 a day for food, and $36 a day for transport, giving us a total of $107 per day. Now I'll just quickly go through each of the categories on my table so you guys can just see what the full breakdown is. So for accommodation here, this is all the accommodation that we spent. You know, the date here, whether we use cash on my card or Shizu's card, where it was and how much it cost. Now for activities, now this is the most variable one, just depends what you want to do, but if you've been following my vlogs, here's all the things that we did. Mario Kart, our cafe, photo booth stuff, temple entrances, games, cave entrances, and of course diving at the end, which was the most expensive. Food can actually be relatively cheap in Japan, but obviously you're going to want to splurge out on the really good food that they had. The two that comes in mind is Kobe beef, that was super expensive, 170 bucks for the lunch, and the sashimi we had at Dotonbori, which was about 36 bucks for the sashimi. But you can see here most of the food that we bought was from 7-Eleven and convenience stores, and that's where we really saved our money. Each meal, some meals were under $5, most of it we kept under 10, and it's only that occasional time that we spent, you know, 10 to 20 bucks. Now others in miscellaneous, you know, you will have to account for these things, you know, laundry, extra batteries, umbrellas, ponchos, especially when you're going trekking. Things do break, just make a little allowance for those so you don't get caught out. Souvenirs, I love me a good magnet. You know, I don't buy much souvenirs, so I splurge out on magnets. Mount Fuji flag, magnets, bandanas, more magnets, and more magnets. So that's pretty much all my souvenir costs, which totaled up to 100 bucks in magnets. So last but not least, we've got transport. Transport is also relatively cheap in Japan. The Pasmo card got us through all the main cities. Really cheap to catch the bus and the train around. So I highly recommend doing that rather than catching a taxi. The only one that we really did blow it on was the Shinkansen. So obviously you can't avoid that, and catching that bullet train is also an experience. Buy a bento box and get the full experience if you're catching one of those. So just a note on the exchange rate, because that is important. We did find that using card had a way better exchange rate than exchanging cash. Just note as well, the exchange rate is really low at the moment, you know, 60s and 70s, but when Shizu travels often end of the year, she gets it for about the 90s. So you know, we didn't have a choice, we had to cop it, but that makes a difference from spending around 15 bucks on food versus 10 bucks if the rate was good. So yeah, I think that just about does it. I think we did pretty well getting all the costs on this trip, and that's country number 34 done and dusted. So yeah, I hope you guys found that information useful and enjoyed the vlogs that I did. I hope that I've improved throughout the years and it's getting better and it's more entertaining. Yeah, I guess that's it for Japan, and it's nearly time to board the plane back home to Sydney. So with that, thanks for joining me again guys, and I'll see you guys back at home.